All right, the Great Bambi 42. We are at the Mode campus. Today I got a very special guest. He just fought one of the biggest names in the fight game, Yoel Romero. I got Theo Doukas, Bkfc. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to get you in here. I know this is, such a big fight. You don't see a lot of guys in Spokane fighting these massive stars, and you took an opportunity and you went out there and you performed. You did what you could do. I guess let's start there. Talk to me about that night. Just what's your takeaways from that night?
Oh man, so many takeaways. Like, I've been in the fight game for a long time, but I experienced a lot of firsts at that level. Being at the elite level beyond the regional circuits and stuff, you got a lot of different ways that they handle things, the press conferences, the weigh-ins. You got pretty much two sets of weigh-ins. You got the legit weigh-ins where you got to be able to make weight, and then you got the ceremonial ones where they get to televise everything and everyone gets to watch what's going on and stuff.
Yeah.
Being a part of that for the first time was pretty cool. I mean, the whole experience all the way around was really cool. And honestly, the fight itself, getting up in there with Yoel Romero itself was a blast. I mean, he beat the crap out of me, but it was a really, really good time. And if I had to do it again, I totally would.
Yeah.
I think the best experience out of everything, though, was I'm going to give a shout out to my boy. Oh man, his name's not Rain. It's Renee Wells. He kind of took me under his wing and he hooked me up with this company, Team Blazed. They made my T-shirts for the show.
Nice.
They made my banner and everything for me. He just really looked out for me and really hooked me up with the right people to be able to move forward as professional as possible. So, Renee, dude, thank you very much for everything that you did. Team Blaze, thank you for everything that you guys did for me as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I watched the fight. It's Yoel Romero at the end of the day. I mean, he's just such a savage, and but you didn't just go on there and collect a paycheck. I mean, you were going out there and you were trying to connect, and you were trying to put him out just like he was trying to do to you.
I went out there to fight. From the very beginning when I signed the contract, I told everybody I'm going to fight him. I'm not just going there to show up. I'm just going there to go through all the motions. I really want to fight him, and I want to put what I know how to do against him to the test. The CEO of the show, David Feldman, I believe,
Yeah.
he pulled me to the side before the show and before the fight, and he goes, "Look, I know you're going up against a killer." And he goes, "I just want you to go out there, do your thing, fight as hard as you can, and if you go out there and do your thing," he's like, I'll bring you back." So I decided to just go out there and leave it all on the line. Regardless of what was happening to me, I just wanted to keep getting up and keep going after him and keep going after him the way I would any other opponent in any other kind of fight.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like, "Oh, he's Yoel Romero. I got to be super careful. I got to be like, kind of backing up and backing away from him," because that's exactly what they don't want. So I just treated him like I would anybody else, put my head forward down, and just kept coming at him. Anytime he tried to circle around me, cut off the ring from him, and just make him have to engage.
Yeah, and I mean, this was both of your guys' BKFC debuts. So, yeah, what are some of the differences that you notice in just going into a bare knuckle fight as opposed to MMA, which you've previously done?
Well, you can get away with other movements that you can't in MMA. You got to really watch out for like if you're gonna slip or you're gonna roll or whatever. You can't over exaggerate your movements. So you're gonna get taken down if you get off balance, or you're gonna catch a kick or a knee. In boxing, bare knuckle boxing, you can kind of move those movements a little bit wider and a little bit bigger if you want to, and you're not going to have as many repercussions. But ultimately, what I realized after this fight in retrospect is that defense is completely different. In boxing, because you got your gloves, it's easy to kind of shield some things and block some things. In bare knuckle, it's almost impossible to block a punch. It really is. You have to have your head movement. You have to have your footwork. And I really underestimated that, and I'm pretty sure that's why he was just able to plant punches on me at will in the second round.
Yeah, the one thing I don't love about the BKFC is like they start you guys like 2 feet away from each other. I was watching a social media and I saw a reel of just some guy just getting knocked out within like the first 2 seconds of the fight.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, I don't know. I don't understand why they do that.
I think it forces you to engage.
Yeah.
With the nature of the sport, it's brutal. I mean, I saw some statistic that like 86% of all fighters who fight in BKFC are going to come out with an average of like 12 to 16 stitches.
That's wild.
It's nuts. Yeah, and I mean, I fit right into that. My very first fight, and I got 15.
Yeah, talk about how are you feeling right now? What are some of the, yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm pretty sore. I'm not gonna lie. Taking his punches were by far the hardest punches I've ever taken. The cuts themselves, the swelling and stuff's gone down and stuff. They don't really hurt too much. What really hurts is my neck. And that last uppercut that turned my head like almost all the way around.
Yeah.
For like the last 3 days, I've been turning like Batman. It's just like I can't really turn my neck all the way. It's just been super stiff, almost as if like I had to fight off a rear naked choke for like 4 or 5 minutes in an MMA fight.
Would you say that this is the most damage or the most that you've taken in a fight, or?
Yeah, this is by far the most damage I sustained. Jared Fisher down in Lewiston, he's the only one who's ever really like starched me and knocked me completely cold. So.
Yeah.
You could argue that I took more damage then because I was out for like 2 minutes in that fight. But as far as like, visual damage and just like getting up and taking more damage, getting up and like this was by far the most damaging fight I've ever had.
Damn. Yeah, I know you went down there with Pablo Alfonso. Rhodes was with you as well?
No, Rose didn't come down. She really wanted to, but someone had to stay back and take care of the gym.
That's still, I know Pablo was telling me that he at one point trained with Yoel, or
Yeah.
he knew him somehow.
Well, he's from the Miami area, so for years while Pablo was down there and he was fighting on Strike Force and he was training down there, he was training with a lot of the same gyms that Yoel was training at as well. They do a lot of cross-training down there. So, like, he spent a lot of time in the same gym with Yoel Romero, and it was kind of nice having him as my coach, being able to tell me, some of the things that to expect from him, some of the things that I'm probably going to have to look out for and stuff. And he was pretty accurate with all of it.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you just got to, take him down there with you and have an experience. Give him an experience too, because that's such a big show. Obviously he's cornered Terrence in Brazil and stuff like that, but still that's a big show.
Well, to him, he was going home. Like he loved the fact that it was in Fort Lauderdale because him being from Miami, he went down a day early so he can go meet up with his brother, go see some family. I mean, dude, I think he hit like 10 restaurants in the 4 days that we were down there, dude. The food itself down there, totally worth going for, man. Some of the most authentic food that I've ever had in my entire life.
That's awesome.
And like Pablo was like, trust me, you're gonna love this place. You're gonna love this place. And he was accurate, man. Everything was really good.
And I know that you used to train at SICK, correct? Mm-hmm. And then you switched over to Warrior Camp. What was the decision and the process behind making the switch, and how has your career changed since joining Warrior Camp?
Well, the decision to switch wasn't really made by me. It was more made by Rick. Rick didn't want me on the team anymore. So when I decided, look, I still got some years left ahead of me. There's a couple good gyms to go look at. I was looking at AKA out in Post Falls. I was checking out Warrior Camp, obviously. I was looking at Mulvihill's team. His jiu-jitsu team as well was at Redemption. I was looking at a few teams that were around, and ultimately what brought me to Warrior Camp was the fact that I had history with them because I fought on Proving Grounds 4 times as an amateur, and a lot of their guys at some point like hired me as a personal trainer, and I went and did some training with them and like gave them some classes as a coach and stuff like that, like 3 or 4 other amateur heavyweights. So like I kind of felt like I had a little bit more of a connection with that gym than I did anybody else, and I kind of wanted to like expand on that.
And it's been good so far?
Yeah, I honestly, they brought me in with welcome arms, and they have treated me as if I've been one of the family from day one. And that's why, to me, it's super important to be able to give back to this gym, to be able to give back to the people who've trained with me, to give back to Rose and Pablo in particular, because they've done so many things for me in the last couple of years. Once they made me the promoter of their show, I made it like personally, like I want to make sure the show expands and does better and does better and does better. Like I don't care if it ends up costing me a little bit of money in the process. If the show is better than it was before and the matchups are better, I feel like I'm giving back to Rose the way that they need, and Rose and Pablo the way that they need someone to do it.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed, playing the promoter role for that promotion?
Absolutely. It's a different kind of experience. You got everybody in the entire show is like looking up to you. If something goes wrong, you got to come up with all the answers. And it's kind of a cool position to be in. I didn't know I was going to embrace it as much as I did, but I really do kind of like being the guy. That being said, I have also learned that the best way to not have those kind of issues happen is to be as prepared as possible. Preparation is key. So like I got all my card girls models are on a group chat. Talk to all of them at the same time. I got all my cage crew in a group chat. Talk to them all at the same time. All my judges, all my referees. I mean, I got these group chats all about with the show. But whenever something comes up, I'm talking to everybody at the same time, so I get responses right away, and it's really easy to come up with solutions to any kind of the obstacles that are going to be coming up with any show.
That's awesome. And you get to kind of help build these guys too, you know, like you're the matchmaker at the end of the day. Like you're the one setting up these fights, and I feel like that's such a big aspect of, you know, a fighter's career, you know, is making sure that they're not fighting somebody so far out of their, you know, just give it, you know.
Well, the matchmaking, actually, I got to give the credit to Pablo. He's the one who does pretty much the majority of that. He'll listen to my ideas when I talk about certain fighters and stuff, but when it comes down to it, because it's his show, he really wants to dial in the matchmaking. He's really got the final say-so over anybody who's fighting anybody in there. He's mostly hired me for the production end of it. He really wants to make sure the show goes as smooth as possible. So that's mostly where I'm focusing all my work, is making sure that we got all the personnel that we need. We've got, you know, photographers, videographers, like when you come in and stuff. When we got good stagers to take care of both red corner and blue corner, good communication between the DJ and the announcer and the stager, so everyone's got anything going at a good flow. That's pretty much where I come in. When it comes to anything that comes out like outside of the show, when it comes to matchmaking, taking care of fighters, bringing fighters into hotels and stuff like that, Pablo and Rose kind of take care of that end of it a little bit more.
And I know he's moving it to like the TFL. That's that's going to be the new promotion. Have you done a show at the Spokane Tribe?
No, we did our show at the oh man,
The Hub, right?
well, that's where we do our amateur.
Oh.
We had a pro show that was out on the Tribe, out in I can't remember what tribe it was. Back in February. That was the only pro show that we had. And we've been trying to land the venue again, but they're super busy. They got a lot of things going on with their buildings and stuff like that, so trying to make things line up has been pretty difficult. So we've just been rolling with TFL as the amateur show. This next one's going to be a really good one, though, because we're going to have cage jiu-jitsu competitions going on for the first couple hours before we roll right into the fights. So anyone who's interested in watching some really good jiu-jitsu and some local jiu-jitsu artists come in and do their thing, come down and check that out, because you're going to be watching some of the best guys that we got here in Spokane and the Post Falls area and stuff. They're going to be coming in, competing out, and doing really well.
That's awesome. And I hope that he does end up getting into the Tribe, because I think there were talks of him getting into the Spokane Tribe at one point. And man, I just did the WFC. They came into town and did a show there, and the Spokane Tribe venue knows how to put on a good MMA show.
Well, they actually, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything on this or not, but Pablo was the one that was doing a lot of the matchmaking for that WFC show. So, which was kind of crazy. If you look at the fighters that we had on that show and how good of a show that was, and then you go back and you look at our last 5 shows at TFL at Proving Grounds, it's all the same fighters. It's a lot of the same matchups and stuff like that he's been going through. So, like, it's kind of crazy. We're watching almost a mirrored image of WFC happening from TFL. It's almost like TFL is kind of shining itself through a different promotion right now.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. I didn't even think about it that way. For you in your career, you know, at the tail end of it, but new opportunities presenting themselves. You know, Bkfc. You know, Dave Feldman telling you that you got a spot there. So is that the goal? Do you want to continue to keep fighting for
100%. This is the best opportunities I'm probably ever going to have in the rest of my career. Being 41 years old, I'm not getting any younger. The fact that Bkfc took a chance on me, they liked what I presented when I went out there and fought Yoel. I want to capitalize on not just financial opportunities that this provides, but I want to capitalize on connections, because like the connections I made with Team Blazed, connection I made with Renee, those are huge, and those are going to probably last the rest of my life, and me retiring from fighting and turning into a promoter, these are great connections that are going to be, awesome for us in the future, not just for me, but for Warrior Camp, for TFL show and stuff like that. So I'm using this as an opportunity to be able to meet the right people, hopefully have an opportunity to do business with the right people, pick up some sponsors, some big sponsors that can really come and help the show and stuff. Like, I want to create opportunity as much as possible, which is like the number one reason why I took the fight with Yoel. It wasn't just to get in there and fight him on a martial arts perspective. when you fight someone like Yoel and you get that kind of acclamation going out there and people know who you are afterwards, everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to find out, what it was like to train with them and stuff. But I can use that as ways to make connections and create business. And hopefully I can help the show rise at a lot better spot than it's at right now.
Absolutely. I mean, like that fight was everywhere. I mean, I think Ariel Helwani just did an interview with after the fight, and it's like they're throwing up the highlights of you, like you're on one of the biggest MMA podcasts now.
It's kind of cool. I mean, it sucks that the highlights are me just getting dropped.
Yeah.
But fact of the matter is, I was the guy who stepped up in there, and I was the one who made him have to engage and go and fight. So I'm taking some good pride in that. I'm just gonna have to get used to the fact that every time I see myself in a highlight, it's gonna be my nose exploding with blood and stuff like that.
And it is what it is, man. You answered the call when nobody else would, and people can talk all the crap that they want, but at the end of the day, you got to stand in the ring with Yoel Romero, and that's something you're gonna be. And you didn't take excessive damage. I feel like, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't like
that last knockdown. I still had it in me to get up and fight,
but
I couldn't see out of my right eye. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, you had blood in your eye. I was like, no, that uppercut, knocked my vision out. I couldn't see nothing. I was blinking. I was trying to get it to focus. In fact, it literally felt like I was almost kind of cross-eyed, like it was pointing in opposite direction. And I kind of had, a quick little thought to myself of, I'm already gushing blood. I can barely see out of my eye. I keep pushing this, what is it, a broken orbital? Broken jaw. Do I really want to keep pushing? I want to keep fighting, and I got it in me, and I got the heart too, but is it really worth a major surgery or something like that? And then if I end up having to do that, then I'm not going to be able to come back and fight for a very long time. I've already been talking to my manager and stuff, and I'm on a 60-day suspension from getting TKO'd, but after the medical suspension is up, they want to get me back in there as soon as possible. If I would have kept fighting to the point to where I got my jaw broken or something like that, then that goes right out the window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I felt like I called it for myself at a good time. I went and laid it all out there. I let Yoel pretty much beat the crap out of him. I shouldn't say let, but I mean, he beat the crap out of me pretty good. He's just that good of a fighter. It was amazing how good it was to feel when he decided to turn it on, and it was like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy.
And, I mean, I would assume that the testing when it comes to Bkfc is probably a little bit more lenient than the UFC. I don't know.
Honestly, they had the full list of everything that they wanted my blood to go through and stuff like that. I would expect they wanted the same thing out of Yoel.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people who are like, oh, he's juicing like crazy. You can see. And I'm not going to say that. If he is, whatever. I'm not going to believe he is, and I'm not going to say, yeah, that's the reason why he beat me. He beat me because he was a better fighter.
Yeah.
He's got more experience. He's a world-class athlete. He's a world-class fighter. There's a reason why he's one of the best in the world. So, I mean, juicing or not juicing, he wouldn't have needed gear to beat me. He's just that good of a fighter.
Was there anything that I'm guessing this is like the most social media traction of any of your fights, obviously. Was there anything that anybody said that like that you were surprised or bothered, or did it get to you, like people talking a bunch?
No, me and Pablo had a good conversation. When I called him and told him I signed the contract, we had a good 10, 15-minute conversation about what to expect, not just with the fight against Yoel, but what to expect outside the ring. And a lot of it was you're unknown. No one's going to give you a chance. No one's going to even believe that you should even be in there. It really helped. Those arguments got helped a lot by all the pictures they kept pulling from 2021 and 2022 when I was really fat and I wasn't in half as good a shape as I'm in right now. I just knew that when Pablo was talking to me about it, just don't let it get to my head. So I didn't. In fact, I started kind of having fun with it in ways where, depending on what someone would say, every now and then I just pick someone and I would just reply and they'd be like, oh wait, that's you. Oh shit, bro. Well, good luck, man. I hope you it was weird. Just replying to him all of a sudden made him turn their head around and be like, wow, he's actually talking to me. And then me and my coworkers, we had a good one when they first put the fight poster out, and people were calling me an Uber driver or truck driver. Every day I had a different job title, pretty much, is what was going on. So me and some of my coworkers were we'd get on the internet and we'd find the best little snip or clip or something that we could, and we'd bring it all together and see which one was the funniest one. We were doing that for 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Either way, I mean, like I said, you went out there, you did what you had to do. What was I going to say? So do you are you prepared to like take this whole moment and like capitalize on it the most that you can? And do you enjoy like passing on everything that you've learned in your career to the next generation?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm this like as far as I'm concerned with BKFC, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
And as long as Lord Almighty don't give me any major injuries and stuff like that, and I can continue to fight with them, I'm going to go as long as I can. And I think I still got at least a couple years, if not more. Especially this day and age when the more you take care of yourself, the longer fighters have been fighting. There's actually a fair amount of fighters that are in their late 30s going in their 40s. Something you didn't see back in like 2002 to like 2010
Yeah.
era. So yeah, I'm definitely going to capitalize on it. And when it comes to using my experience to talk about young fighters and stuff, anyone who asks me a question, I always try to answer it as educative as possible. It's like, okay, hey Theo, what was it like when you were out there the very first time and you got to feel those logos under your feet? It's like, I'll tell you what, they're kind of slickery and they're a little cold. So it's like, and people are like, oh really? It's like, and I'm like, yeah, you'll understand the first time you get out there. When people are like, what was this like? What was it like meeting so and so? And it's like you got to have composure. You can't go out and fanboy out over the fact that you're shaking hands with Frank Mir or Tito Ortiz or like all the guys that I've met throughout my career at some point. If I can show them a way before they go through this to try and have a mental note of how to handle it, then I think they'll be able to handle it a little better. They're not going to let the moment get to them the way some fighters do when they get out there the very first time at an elite level. I was actually kind of afraid at one point that like the moment might get to me a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I was at the press conference and they asked me my first question, that was the first time I had to take a breath and kind of like I felt my heart flutter for a second before I actually put out my answer to it, because I was like, oh man, I got like millions of people watching me right now and like this is live. So
Yep. Okay. You're good. You're good.
okay. So like that was like the first time I just had to kind of regain my composure and just be like, okay, Theo, you can do this mentally. I just prepared myself real quickly and just went out and just answered the question. Other than that, I feel like my composure, and I was given some credit by like a lot of the guys who worked in the back scenes of the BKFC about my composure. They're like, "Did you handle yourself well for this being your first show? You're not letting anything get to you. The fact that you're fighting Yoel Romero, you're holding yourself pretty good." Some people were really kind of impressed with the fact that I wasn't afraid of them. They're like, "Dude, at weigh-ins, you looked like you were ready to fight, and you went out there, you didn't shy from them." They're like, a lot of people were really shocked about that part. So if I can take that and I can try and teach the young guys how to hold themselves up like that, then I think that'll be really beneficial for them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's a good story. I think you like it was worth it. Go out there and fight Yoel Romero was worth it. And like this is something you're gonna get to talk to. Like this put a stamp on your career. As being like a really memorable and cool career. You know what I'm saying?
I think one of the things that it's really going to do, mostly for the team and for other people more than it's going to do for me, is they're going to realize that, some dude who a lot of people didn't give a chance to still got his opportunity. And the reason why he got his opportunity is because he didn't quit.
Yeah.
He still showed up to train. He still showed up to take care of everything at the gym that he needed to. He still did what he needed to do. Regardless if anyone believed he was ever going to get a shot, he didn't quit. He just kept pushing, kept pushing, kept pushing. And what do you know? It finally came through. So, like, that's something that I would really love to push the young fighters out there and young minds in general, whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's not fighting. Whatever your dream is, if you feel like you've pushed and pushed and pushed and you got nothing left, just don't quit. Just keep going with it, and then before you know it, everything you've worked so hard for, it's going to finally fall in your lap.
That's awesome. That's that's the message right there. Anybody you want to shout out? Any sponsors before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out to Hunter Orgill. He's sponsored all my pro fights. He's always been out there with Orgo belting and stuff. He's a really good friend. I love the fact that he's always looked out for me and a lot of other fighters. He sponsors a lot of fighters with his company. And then I definitely want to thank Old Timers Bar and Grill over on the coast side, over by I think they're in by Mount Vernon area. I don't remember their exact address, but they reached out. Renee was one who he found that sponsor for me. I definitely want to thank those guys. I want to thank everybody in the Spokane area that hit me up and told me, "Hey, good luck," or told me I fought my ass off. You know, you did really good. It's amazing how much of the PNW, you know, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and all of a sudden just started hitting me and flooding me with messages and stuff. And I definitely got to give a big shout out to the Team Blazed. Wallace, you're a stud, dude. Everything you did for me, man, I absolutely owe you big time. And we're definitely going to link up together. And I want to be able to find some fighters who need anything like this, hats, the shirt. He's the one who made this shirt for me for the show. You need a banner or whatever. I'm telling you, man, Team Blaze Clothing is the way to go, or Just Blaze Clothing. They're the way to go. Wallace's does a great job, and the beauty of it is it's super affordable for young fighters who, you know, haven't hit a big contract and don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does take care of the young guys. So, I mean, like, if you guys want to start getting your own apparel, get your own thing going on, you know, go ahead and link me up if you need to. Hit me up on social media if you want to. Theo Doukas on Facebook, at Cretarius MMA on Instagram, or Cretarius on Snapchat. Look for me, link up with me, and I'll do what I can to try and help you guys out.
Boom. Theo Doukas, he is a really great dude. I remember I was at Warrior Camp. Rose was, we were talking about the Bkfc fight coming up, and she was just like, "Man, you're just such a good dude," and it's true. And so if you aren't subscribed, hit the YouTube, the Great Bambi 42. We're monetized. We're making a little bit of money. Theo Doukas, he just fought Yoel Romero. Go check it out. It was a great fight. And thanks for watching. We are out. Boom.
Thank you, man.